at the Eagles? Is it Hurts or the team?
I think it's a little bit of both, man. I think
It's system and team.
they got a great offensive line, which helps Hurts.
Okay. So, I'm sure you guys have all seen that kind of make the rounds just a little bit. So obviously the very impressive, and I can say this without bias, one of the most terrifying players in the league, Micah Parsons. And that kind of sparks a little bit of debate, which is what we're going to get into today here on More C4. So welcome back to More C4. It's been, a little bit without a video. That's been partially on me. Partially, what we have. Last time we talked would have been, week 11? Week 10, week 11. I was sick week 12, and between being sick, and I don't know if you guys got this cold going through you, where it's like you're just sick for 3 weeks. That combined with the fact that, there's been some primetime games for the Eagles, and I'm, with my kids and stuff, I'm not going to be up at 1 a.m. in the morning yelling about my football team or the team we just beat, but I know I got to be up at 6:45 to take my kids to school. But we're going to be back, and we will have a post-game for Chicago, and obviously this Dallas game is going to be monumental. I can't wait to talk about that one. I borderline, if that wasn't, I might need, one of my plans for this channel, we actually just recently got monetization, and it helps with streaming and stuff like that. Is going to be doing watch-alongs just while we're chilling and watch the games over on here. That Dallas game would be absolutely epic, but also I think I need to be by myself for that one because the happiness and joy of Christmas rides on the result of this Week 16 game. But it has been a minute since we've kind of talked about and reacted to the Philadelphia Eagles, and I want to kind of talk about Jalen Hurts in a way because the way that we've been playing over the last couple games that we haven't really recapped and talked about, it's been Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has absolutely gone nuclear. As you can see, Week 12 against Green Bay, obviously only 153 passing yards. Didn't have to do much because we just ran the ball. He had 157 rushing yards. And it's okay, just showing everybody Week 12 how much we can just run the ball if we have to. How much we can be last year's Philadelphia Eagles team. And then Week 13 against a even still probably a wild card quality AFC team in the Tennessee Titans. It's Jalen Hurts goes for almost 400 yards passing. Good luck stopping us. And then we saw against New York just an absolute domination. And it all kind of comes down to the fact, it's the discussion. Is Jalen Hurts the MVP? Is he the favorite? I made a tweet actually not too long ago where it was what does he need to do to catch Patrick Mahomes? As it stood, and this was probably 3 weeks ago, this was literally after the Colts win. After the bounce back, I was what does Hurts need to do to get himself in that conversation with Patrick Mahomes? And I think over the last 3 weeks, in my opinion, he has eclipsed Patrick Mahomes for the MVP race. And I don't know if you need to defend it, because I know a lot of people watching this are going to be Eagles fans and probably in agreement. But when you just look at it, man, Jalen Hurts, as it stands right now, let's get this centered here. So not only does he have the best record in football, and we've seen time and time again throughout all the MVP votings, that record is a quarterback stat in the eyes of the majority of the voters for MVP. So we have the best record in the NFL. And barring us, benching and sitting and resting our guys Week 18, which even if that's the case against the Giants, I think Gardner Minshew with our twos, that's not an automatic loss. But it's, Philly's going to get, 14, 15 wins, somewhere in that. That Dallas game will be difficult. And I don't want to overlook anybody because Chicago, I could see Justin Fields going nuclear, and that's a trap game. The Saints, who knows? They're going to be playing for their first round. I don't know what's going to go on. But let's just assume that Philly finishes with the best record, undisputed best record in the NFL. That's going to be going in Jalen Hurts' favor for the MVP race. 68% completion percentage. We have 3,100 yards passing, 22 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, right? 3 turnovers. And then you go down to the rushing numbers, where Jalen Hurts, 686 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns. He does have 9 fumbles. Well, what's important in those fumbles is it's turnovers. How many of those did he actually lose? And as you can see here, he has currently lost 2 fumbles, the same with Tom Brady. So as it stands right now, Jalen Hurts has 5 total turnovers to 32 touchdowns. 32 touchdowns, the best record, 32-5. And right now, it is a 2-horse race for MVP. Josh Allen just has way too many turnovers. And the MVP is not the argument of who the best quarterback is in the NFL. As a Philadelphia Eagle fan, I rate it on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, @PapaXC4. My top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. And the way that I kind of almost broke it down was like, what if each one of these quarterbacks was on the Philadelphia Eagles? How would I rank them? You still got Mahomes at 1, Josh Allen at 2, Justin Herbert at 3. Then you had, Aaron Rodgers was there in my top 5 because how much do you just dig a guy that's 2-time reigning defending MVP, even though he hasn't looked the best, and he's looked solid and his weapons kind of suck. But anyways, I digress. As it relates to MVP this year, MVP, most valuable player, it's between Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. So what we know, Jalen Hurts currently statistically, right? We got 31 plus, we'll say 700, round that up. So we have 3,800 yards. 32 touchdowns, 5 turnovers. 38, 32, and 5. Patrick Mahomes, 41, 33, and 11. And he also is currently chipping in with 280 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. So we got 35 touchdowns. Touchdown odds go to Mahomes. Yards slightly go to Mahomes. Record goes to Jalen Hurts. Turnovers easily in favor of Jalen Hurts. So he's playing and protecting the football better. He has a better record. Doesn't have as many nicknames as Patrick Mahomes. It's just one of those things, man, where you see schemes brought up a lot as it relates to Jalen Hurts. I don't think scheme is something fair to criticize when you're trying to compare who the best is. Because, you're supposed to be, everyone should be a scheme quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is a scheme quarterback. He is in the scheme of Andy Reid. There's a reason why the Chiefs are so dominant. There's a reason why the Kansas City Chiefs feels like without Tyreek Hill have still been able to move the football the way they do. Because he is in Andy Reid's scheme, which is amazing. One of the greatest schemes ever. One of the most quarterback-friendly schemes of all time. That takes nothing away from Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. But, if you're going to knock Jalen Hurts for scheme, any good quarterback in the NFL, maybe less Justin Herbert this year because he's had nothing really to work with all the injuries, have been successful within a scheme and operating within a scheme. So I feel like if scheme's something, which obviously the big hot take from Micah Parsons was Jalen Hurts, it's the scheme. It's a scheme for everybody. It's also a scheme why Dak Prescott looks not good at all this year. Scheme. If that's your tiebreaker, that's not a fair tiebreaker. I think the argument that comes in is Patrick Mahomes doesn't have the same talent around him that Jalen Hurts currently has, which I think is valid. He does have Travis Kelce. I think the Chiefs' offensive line, for the most part, is one of the best offensive lines of football. I don't know if they're top 5. Probably close, right? Creed Humphrey's one of the best centers. Orlando Brown. Trey Smith is legit. I'm probably missing 1 or 2 on their line, but those big 3 at least. And I feel like who's the other tackle? I don't know why I'm blanking on it, but they have a good offensive line, right? But with no Tyreek, which Tyreek has been absolutely crushing it, there's a legit claim that you're like, I'm giving the edge to Mahomes because he doesn't have as much on offense. But to act like the discrepancy between the Chiefs' offense and the weapons the Chiefs have versus what Jalen Hurts, it's not that big of a discrepancy. It definitely weighs in favor of Jalen Hurts, but I don't think it's enough that if it's close, you're going to be like, I got to give it to Mahomes because he doesn't have, the best offensive line in football. He still has guys. Kelce is one of the best skill position players. It needs to be said, he's better than any skill position player on the Philadelphia Eagles. These point-blank period. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders, all those guys. Travis Kelce's still ahead of them on the pecking order. So Patrick Mahomes has arguably the best weapon of the 2 quarterbacks. But as far as the offense and the offensive line and everything that encompasses an offense is concerned, obviously the advantage goes to Jalen Hurts. But I think just to kind of dispelling the myth that, scheme. Jalen Hurts is not going to win the MVP because he's in a successful scheme is absolute bullshit. That's just classic, dumb Dallas Cowboy bias, homerism, whatever you want to kind of break it down. That is why, what's Micah Parsons going to say, right? He wants to be a fan favorite. Wants to continue to move jerseys. You're not going to have him go on Von Miller's podcast and gas up the Philadelphia Eagles, right? So, I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit. But for my opinion, as it stands right now, Jalen Hurts, I think record goes to Jalen Hurts. I think with the way that he's playing right now, with the teams that we have left, Chicago, the Giants, the Cowboys, the Saints, especially how much he plays in those games, his stats are going to look pretty similar to Patrick Mahomes when all is said and done. So I think if the stats are close, the turnovers and the record favor Jalen Hurts. And I don't, NFL's all about making money, right? NFL is all about how much money can we generate. Does Patrick Mahomes, in the eyes of some people, we're not going to say there's bribery involved, but in the eyes of some people, what does an MVP do to Patrick Mahomes? He's already a superstar. He's already in a bunch of commercials. He's already one of the faces of the league. If he wins the MVP, I'm not going to be salty about it because he's been great. Sure, going 3 touchdowns, 3 picks against Denver is not really going to help his case right now, and I do firmly believe most people assume that the momentum and the favorite and all the odds in Vegas and stuff like that have kind of sided towards Jalen Hurts right now, going into Week 15 as the MVP favorite. But if Mahomes ends up winning it and Jalen Hurts doesn't, and both their stats kind of finish the same, the Chiefs finish 1 or 2 seed in the AFC, it's not going to be a robbery. But in the eyes of marketing, winning another MVP for Patrick Mahomes doesn't do a whole lot. But you have someone like Jalen Hurts and a big market team wins MVP. The league got itself a new star. That's going to be a lot more revenue. That's going to be a lot more jersey sales. That's going to be a lot more eyes on the Philadelphia Eagles, which as a whole for the league, it's going to be better. So raising the stock of a different player, if there's like a tiebreaker kind of deal, don't be surprised, man, if that's something that goes into thinking for some of these people that could be like, well, it's better for the league if we have another MVP quarterback down there in the NFC, so it's not all Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. They need to start building up some stars in the NFC. The NFL's a business, and Jalen Hurts becoming the MVP is what's best for business in the NFL, if it is really close when all is said and done at the end of the year. And in closing, I mean, as an Eagle fan, do you want Jalen Hurts winning the MVP? Like, I think right now, for how much he's developed, I think it'd be awesome. It absolutely would be something that would be a crowning achievement for not only him, but for the Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff, because Jalen Hurts last season and the things that I've said over since he's been here have been valid. I will never not, it's not like I'm going to take down a bunch of videos where I'm dogging Jalen Hurts. He was legit not great last year. There was some promise for sure, but I think a lot of my criticisms over Jalen Hurts have aged appropriately. He was not good last year. Yes, you could take something where I say Jalen Hurts does not look like a franchise quarterback, because he didn't. He absolutely did not. When Philadelphia drafted Jalen Hurts, as a fan base, we did not know that Carson Wentz was washed. That was not leaked out, and that was not shared with the fan base. But more and more, as you look into it, it does seem like, how he saw the writing on the wall. And that would never obviously be shared with the fan base. So we're just there assuming Carson Wentz can get healthy again. He's going to be our guy. Then we go here and draft Jalen Hurts. Well, we could have got Jeremy Chin, or I think he was probably the top name. So again, draft reaction was an appropriate reaction, given the context of Carson Wentz, and given the fact that we didn't know behind the scenes that, Wentz was washed. Wentz was checked out, right? So all that being said, all the negativity, the growth that Jalen Hurts has showed, for him to win MVP would be truly remarkable. Like, it is very, very fair to say that Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen's development in the league from where they were as a college player has been remarkable. And the one thing that I have been absolutely dead wrong with Jalen Hurts, that has not aged well whatsoever, has been my opinion that Jalen Hurts was close to his ceiling. I thought that this was a guy last year, especially after that Bucs loss, it was just like, he's just gonna be a guy, man. He's gonna be a guy that's a dual threat. He's gonna be a guy that doesn't really trust his arm. He's gonna be a guy that doesn't really like to work the middle of the field, and those are tough habits to break out of. Couldn't be more wrong. I think the understate from a lot of people for what someone like A.J. Brown means to the offense. I truly do think that while the development of Jalen Hurts needs to go on Jalen Hurts, he needs to get credit for his development. I also think it's probably like a 75-25, where it's 75% Jalen Hurts, 25% A.J. Brown just opens everything up. 25% the offense, for the most part, has been very healthy. Yes, we've lost Dallas Goedert for a little bit, and he was very much a top 5, borderline top 3 tight end before he got hurt. But we've been able to endure that. But for the most part, it has gone on Jalen Hurts. The responsibility for his development, the responsibility for this breakout has gone on to Jalen Hurts. And I think him winning MVP would be awesome. But also, he needs to get paid. So it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? If Patrick Mahomes ends up winning the MVP and it's not Jalen Hurts, it might save us a little bit when it comes time to give Jalen Hurts a new contract. Maybe not, but also maybe. I feel like that's quite the negotiation thing to have up your sleeve. It's like, oh, how much you want to pay this guy? Okay, 150. Just want MVP, so we're gonna want more than Kyler Murray. You know what I'm saying? So I guess there's different ways to look at it. Silver linings if Jalen Hurts doesn't get the MVP. But I close this video saying he is my MVP as it stands right now. Who do you guys think will win the MVP when all is said and done? Let me know in the comment section below. We'll be back on Friday with a new Philadelphia Eagles mock draft, and I will see you guys after the Chicago Bears game with some post-game grades and reactions. And that'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Your first time stopping by. Don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you are hyped with Jalen Hurts this season. And I'll see you back here on the next one. Peace out.